Hey guys, welcome to BSA Talks. Today we're going to talk about bears, especially with Dave and all the bears that you've seen and the bear stories that you've seen. Apparently he became inches away from being eaten alive by a bear.
And well, yes. I spend a lot of time hiking, backpacking, particularly in the Sierras in California, when I lived down there. Sometimes alone, sometimes with people. So I have one story first to tell about he was my roommate in the Navy, and he was hiking in Yosemite. He was coming down from the high country. He was going down towards the valley, and he had a steak that he had been saving in his backpack, and he was going to have it for dinner that night. He leans his backpack up against a tree, goes over to the stream to fill up his canteen. When he comes back, there's this bear making its way to his backpack because it can smell the steak. So without thinking, he runs over to the bear and kicks it in the butt as hard as he can.
I mean, to be fair, if someone was going to steal my steak after that long hike, I would kick them too. But,
right.
I mean, if it's a bear, I don't know if I would.
And he goes, you know that moment when you realize you've done something really stupid, but it was too late to do anything about it? He had one of those moments. Well, the bear looked at him with this must be a rabid human, I'm out of here look, and ran.
Yeah.
And he picked up his backpack and went on his way. The bears in Yosemite are odd because they're very experienced with human beings. I was once camping in the valley. The next day, a friend of mine was going to show up. I was by myself. I'd set up my tent, and I woke up in the middle of the night with this weight on my leg. And when you woke up with the weight on your leg, did it scare you? I mean, no, it didn't scare me. I just didn't know what it was. And then I felt the side of the tent, and it was all sort of like spherical and caved in and furry. And
were you scared?
No.
No?
So I jumped out of the tent, and there's this bear who's leaning against my tent eating my granola. And I'm in my underwear, and I'm going, okay, now what? And the bear just looked at me, picked up the granola, and walked away. So I go over to my backpack, which I assumed that the bear had completely demolished. But I found out, and this is absolute truth, the bear had unfastened the buckles, two leather straps with buckles, had unfastened it, folded the top up, untied one of these compression sacks, untied it, spread it out, reached in, and taken my bag of granola out. Did absolutely no damage.
What kind of bear is this?
It's a bear that's very experienced with being tranquilized if it doesn't, if it really annoys people. Yeah. People get a good story out of it, the bears are left alone. People get scared or hurt or something like that, the bear's tranquilized and taken 50 miles up into the woods and dumped. The bear didn't want that, so that was the way the bear behaved. One time, I'm in Yosemite Valley, it's early in the morning. My buddy and I are out just going for a walk, and we see this bear. And we're right behind the bear. I mean, we're maybe 15 feet behind the bear. And we said, let's see where it's going. It's just walking down the street.
You decided, you see a bear, instead of walking the other way like the normal 90% of the population.
No, we want to see where it's going. So it's going along.
Yeah.
And directly in front of the bear, maybe 20 or 30 feet in front of the bear, is a woman who's just come from the laundromat, and she's carrying a load of clean laundry, probably going back to her camper. And she hears something, probably the bear's claws on the asphalt. And she looks to the right, the bear walks to the left. She looks to the left, and the bear walks to the right. She never saw this bear that was 20 feet behind her. We were ready for the, wah! So we continue to follow the bear, and the bear goes to this campground. And there's this kid who must have been about 5 years old. It's the only person in the campground that was visible. And breakfast was spread out on the table, just completely spread out, and the kid is sitting there with eyes the size of saucers as the bear comes up, leans on the table, and looks over the food, decides, I don't want any of that, and walks off. That was the last we saw of the bear. Yeah, bears in Yosemite are very odd. People do stupid things. There was one person, I still remember this one. People like to have their pictures taken with bears. These are wild animals, they can kill you. It's really not a smart thing to do this. But this woman decided that it would be really great to cover her kid in honey and expose it put it in front of the bear so the bear could lick the honey off of the kid and she could take pictures. Now, fortunately, the kid wasn't hurt. The bear just licked the honey off of the kid. But that could have gone south really, really quickly.
One bite is all it
One
takes.
bite was all it would have taken. And even if the bear wasn't intending to kill the kid. Bears would break into things sometimes. If they did
Because,
that too.
from my understanding, bears don't want to hurt humans.
No, bears don't want to hurt humans. They would prefer to have nothing to do with humans except to eat the food. This one bear broke into a car. And for reasons known only to the bear, took out of the car a can of 10W40 motor oil and tears the top off of it and drinks it. Now, the question of do bears shit in the woods was answered in the affirmative. By that, the bear had to have been regular for the next week because of that. It probably didn't hurt the bear seriously, but it probably made it very regular. What it thought it was doing, I have no idea.
Probably thought it was soda. It definitely
Probably
had
thought
soda
it was
before.
soda.
Yeah.
Probably thought it was soda.
See, okay, Dave, I am the weird person that in a couple of years I want like a pet monkey or a pet bear. That would be fun.
Pet monkey, maybe if you don't mind something that throws feces at you when it gets angry. A pet bear is a no-no. I mean, you got something that weighs more than you do and has claws that are 6 inches long. You don't want as a pet.
Yeah.
You know, and bears are dangerous animals. Now these are, you know, brown bears, black bears, and are far less dangerous than, say, a grizzly. But there are people that are killed by them, especially in the breeding season when there's cubs around. And you know, I talk about following the bears in Yosemite. That's probably was foolish to do, but you know those bears are as close to tame as a bear gets, because they know that they threaten humans and they're tranquilized and dumped 50 miles up in the woods. But you get out in the wild and you get anywhere near a mother bear with a cub, and you get the hell out of there, because you're in mortal danger at that point. Now, sometimes there's a funny thing that happens with the mother bear and the cub. So we're camping way up in the high country, and we had strung our food up. We'd hoisted it up a tree, and a bear could not climb the tree. The tree was too flimsy. But what we hadn't thought of was that a cub could. So the mother bear sent the cub up the tree to slash out the bottom of the bag with its claws. So everything in the bag fell down. And so they went through and they ate the various foods. Fortunately, it was our last day, so it didn't much matter. But they ate all the food that was in the bag, except for one thing. And that was a large can that was 99% sugar of imitation grape flavored, you know, Kool-Aid. Bears wouldn't touch that. And I never touched it again. If a bear's not going to eat it, I'm not going to eat it.
And they opened it?
Yeah, they opened it. They opened it because, you know, all they had to do was pry the top off, and their claws are really good for that. But they wouldn't take a taste of it.
So
I mean, they probably tasted it and said, "Bleh."
Yeah. Why do they drink this?
Why do they drink this stuff? Yeah. So do not play games with bears. Get away from them, no matter what time of year it is. And by the way, the things that I've talked about black bears, you try that with a grizzly and you're dead. They're vastly more dangerous. Or a polar bear. They're vastly more dangerous.
What about, I mean, if you were to get attacked by a bear and you have your gun, do you use your gun or do you not? Like,
It depends on what kind of gun it is. If it's a 22, you're probably just going to annoy it.
it would bounce off.
Yeah, well, yeah, or just wound it, but not kill it.
Yeah.
If I were being attacked by a bear, yes, I would. Don't turn and run. That won't do you any good. Try to look as big as possible and be as noisy as you possibly can, because the bear really doesn't want to attack you unless they feel threatened, like you've got them cornered or there's a cub around. Under most circumstances, bears won't attack you. But grizzlies might. They're much more violent, and polar bears, who are closely related to grizzlies, are also far more violent than others.
So if I run into a grizzly, what do I do?
Don't. I mean, since they tend to live in open areas like that, you can see them. I mean, when we were in Denali, we saw grizzlies out there, and you don't get out of the bus. You just stay away. You don't get out of your car. You just stay away from them because they're just too dangerous and too unpredictable. Now, sometimes, a friend of mine had this one happen to him. He was in Spitsbergen, far northern Norway, up in the Arctic Ocean. And they were out in the wild doing something. And it was a warm day. It was probably in the low 40s. And here's this bear it was a polar bear. Here's this bear that's sliding down this snow slope just to cool off and having fun. So it's climbing up the top, sliding down, climbing up the top, sliding down, just like we would, just for fun. But bears are colorblind. And that bear could not see that snow slope was covered in red algae because it was a warm day and the algae bloom had. So now the bear was Pepto-Bismol pink. So you have this bright, and not just light pink bear, a bright pink bear sliding down the snow slope. My friend said, yeah, this is dangerous, but I was too busy laughing to care. So it was the funniest thing I ever saw, a pink bear.
If there was ever a video of that, it would have been the best video.
Oh yeah, that would have been the best video ever. That would have been the best video ever. Yeah. Anyway, there's some bear stories from my history.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I'm sure me and the whole audience appreciates those stories. They're quite funny. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys in the next one.